Hey, testing 1 2 1 2. Okay, mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Pro Trade Room Plus and the Empire State Manufacturing Report. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director of 10 Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor, and it is possible to lose money trading futures, so trade carefully, please, this morning. Okay, good morning. I want to welcome everyone. Also, thanks for watching on YouTube. We are streaming this live this morning. Okay, so it's a Monday, not a very heavy news day. China has a holiday. I think Japan is on holiday. Uh, South Korea has a holiday. So it's Monday. Mondays are generally quiet news days as a rule. And also, it's Fed week. A lot of traders won't trade until the Fed makes their announcements. So that's the news of the week, really, is that the Fed is going to cut rates. How much they cut and what their commentary is what's going to drive the market Wednesday. That takes place at 2 p.m. Now, Empire State Manufacturing, I would say that this report isn't, what's the best way to explain this report? A lot of times it trades with other news. It trades with retail sales at times. So we don't have recent videos because it hasn't been trading all that much by itself. It's definitely not a big money maker. It's more just to get going on a Monday, just to get started. I would call it a coin toss kind of trade, maybe a tiny bit better, maybe a tiny bit better than a coin toss. When we look at it, it has been behaving somewhat better over the years than it has. Forgot my webcam. Let's start the week. No DMM for it. Let's start the week for and get ourselves into sync. So everybody should hit the time is button, right? You should have that saved in your browser. I'm running on a new browser because Opera, just regular Opera, has stopped working on this computer. I don't know why. It just freezes, doesn't work. Opera, the gaming browser, works fine, almost fine. But it does not, I can no longer, I mean, this computer, I can no longer access hyperlinks in my word processors by just clicking the control button. It's like crazy. So I'm going to go back to my new computer, I hope maybe later today. If you've been following my adventures with my new computer, so I bought a brand new trading desktop and it weighs about 500 pounds. I'm going to go to time is while I tell this story. My time is in sync on my computer. And it started making a noise that is just so annoying I can't trade with it. So the computer that I'm using is also a very fast computer, but it's always been problematic. It's an HP. It's just never worked quite the way I've wanted it to work. It's always had little quirks that drove me crazy. But this new computer is made by CyberPower. So probably the first mistake I made is that I didn't buy the Dell that I wanted to buy because the CyberPower had a little bit better features for the money. And but I was not thinking straight because if you've really been following us, you know, I ride a scooter and I got hit by a car 2 Thanksgivings ago. And it's really hard for me to lift things because I got really badly hurt. And I cannot lift the CyberPower to box it up and send it back to them to get it repaired. But they've been really nice. I believe that what's wrong with it, because I used to be a technician, it's just got some fans that are defective and they're making so much noise it's unbearable to sit around the computer. So they were nice enough to send me some fans, and I'll replace the fans, and I'll just go back to that computer. But I'm sorry I didn't get the Dell because they have on-site service. That was the mistake that I made. I should have gotten the Dell. Um, but both machines are pretty nice, and they're never fast enough for me. I just like super, super fast machines. Really, really fast. So no DMM for this report. Let's see what happened. The most recent event that I have on Empire is June. There's a group of Fed reports that most of them we don't trade. The Beige Book, um, which we've stopped trading. Richmond Fed, which always comes out early and doesn't really move the market that much. And there's one other. You got New York, Chicago PMI. Chicago PMI is one of those regional Fed reports that we trade. And it had been a family money trade, which it right now it's not anymore. But Chicago PMI was the best of those. Richmond was the worst of those. And Empire was probably the most inconsistent only because it doesn't trade by itself every month. So gold is the instrument that I've always tested with this report. We've looked at other instruments, excuse me, but gold has been the best opportunity. January of 24, it had a decent move. This is videos inside of a video, so I'm going to let them all show. December of 23. You can see this report, it definitely moves the market. It's not a big mover, so you need a really good offset. You need the news to be very different from what's expected for this report to give us the best opportunity for profit. Now, I just want to remind you, if you're watching us on YouTube, to hit the like button. All right? Give that like button a push. And someone should have given gold a push on this report because in December it just didn't really follow through. Okay? So you could see why there's no DMM for this report. And then in October, it looked like just a lousy fill. Looking at the NQ on the left now in October, gold on the right. NQ hit the first target, pulled back. Gold was a pretty slow response initially. Looks like that was a cancel. Then we go into, now with this video starting to go back kind of far, this was May of 23. But it gives you an idea that there really haven't been phenomenal moves on this report. Probably don't need to have the room anymore on Empire State. It's really hard for me to give up rooms, but I have to start doing it. Give up the rooms with the mediocre reports. And then you have a move like May where it makes you want to trade it. But that was a long time ago, and most of them don't behave this way. This was June. This was the one we originally wanted to look at. The news comes out. It's pretty negative also. It's pretty different than the offset. The news is actually better than what was expected because if you look at what was expected, they were expecting -12 and they got -6. That is theoretically good news. Good news can push gold to the downside. Everything actually worked properly on that event in June, and it looks like it was possible to get one target when all was said and done, depending what you do with your stop. If you leave your stop alone, This report does chop around a bit, but also it's generally not an insane, crazy, out of control report that you might just leave your stop alone and see if it'll follow through to the second target. Now, if you notice what happened there, the news made it burst down and then it pulled back rather quickly, not far enough until then to take you out if you moved your stop. Now, in that case, I don't know if I recorded it long enough. I didn't really record it long enough to know 100% if it would have kept going to test the low or not. But you could see target 1 in June, and then I have a March video of 2024. Let's go right to March. There's the brackets. Hits the first target. Seems like most of the reports that we've looked at are doing a very similar kind of behavior. Pop or drop, hit the first target, pull back. Pop or drop, hit the first target, pull back. Doesn't it seem like most of them look like that? That's what they look like to me. A lot of them. And let's look at one more. We could look at February. Now, forget February because it traded with retail, so there's no point. Retail is the trade that moves. I don't recall bonds working all that well on this report. You can always, this is the kind of report you just might not want to spend real money on it. It's the kind of report today, if you never traded it, you could test. I don't recall it being a very big mover on bonds. It's just not important enough of a report. What is interesting this morning is you do have a double magnet below gold now remember gold's open is at 8:20. Gold is going to open in 5 minutes. You do have the low of the day and PP magnet. I think right now gold is not really negative or positive that much. It's in the middle of the highs and lows. Not sure it's a big trend yet, but it's not a big trend yet. But what is interesting, the NAS is certainly pretty negative. It already tested the low a couple of times. Gold, if we look at like a 15-minute chart just to see what it's been doing since the market's open, it's been up and down since overnight, like in the middle of the morning, 2 in the morning. It's not really showing a strong direction one way or the other at the moment. So if you're going to trade it, the setup that I would use is a breakout trade. And I'm just going to sim it this morning and get ready for the next room, the NOPA room, which is 11:30. 8:29.59 is my activation. I would try to get by with the smallest bracket I could. On this report, I would start with a 10. We'll test it. We'll see what the action is like. And you could actually, because of the behavior, what if you had a target of, say, 7 ticks, and instead of doing what we always do, but because of the behavior of this report, you trade your 2 contracts, but you put them both on target 1. That might not be so stupid. Make your target 1 6 to 8 ticks and just trade 2 contracts on that. Just go for target 1 and then your trade's over. Now, obviously, if there's a gigantic move because the offset's amazing, you're going to miss the big move. But, you're just trading it based on the behavior of the report. And that's what we do. Okay? We trade the behavior of a report. And that's how this report behaves. So it's a breakout with a 10 bracket. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trade 2 positions, 7 ticks. I think what I'll do is go for 8 ticks, be a big shot, and a 12 tick stop, and just see if it works. That's what I'm going to do. That's how I'm going to test it. All right, I'm not that interested in throwing real money on it because it just hasn't been behaving well enough. I'm looking at the videos, refreshing my memory, looking at some of the older ones also, the video within a video. It just really shows you that over and over and over, this has not been that great a report to trade. So rather just get the machine oiled up and ready to go for the next event and for the good events and deal with it that way. So you could save a template if you wanted to and call it Empire 1 position, GC in today's date. And then I test I do not think we have a magnet this morning. I just think the markets are not really magnetized at the moment. Back to strategy, I'm going to put my time on 0. My charts are on sim. I'm going to enable. There's the gold. Gold moving before the open, which is not that unusual. Years ago, we used to trade the gold open during the pandemic, and it waited. Gold would wait until the open. 8:20 on the dot. There would be a move in gold, and we would trade it morning after morning after morning. It was not easy, the gold open. And this morning is definitely tricky because you don't have a direction. So you need something to help you determine, well, what direction do you think it's going to go at the open this morning? So I'm going to put my time back to 8:29:59. Now, for everybody, I did get a note that the NQ, that the indexes have rolled. So you want to look at your volume. You might want to look at your volume on the indexes this morning. You could set up a secondary trade. I was going to go to New Market Analyzer and just look at, if you look at the current NQ, you could see 0 days till rollover, but there's still significant volume. And then the next NQ, if I've entered it in to my system, is NQ 1224. And you could see there's exact mixed volume on the indexes. So that affects liquidity on reports. It's definitely a possible reason why you might want to watch this report on the indexes and not trade it as a breakout at the exact moment. because if it wasn't rollover, you'd have a lot more volume on NQ12. You'd be siphoning off a lot of that 45, right? So what you could set up, if you wanted to, you could set up MGC 1224, and you could set up a secondary trade, a trade after the news on gold, because I do think gold is one of the better instruments to trade on this report. Set up a reversal continuation. Right-click the chart, add the strategy, click reversal continuation. And I would do 2 contracts. And again, I'm not expecting that much of a move unless the offset is really offset. 20 target, 20 stop, a couple of positions, 2 positions. Label it reversal so you know what it is. And then I'm going to put it on my Buell Knox. When you enable a reversal, you get your buttons. I'm going to have to move my webcam out of the way so we have our buttons. And then put your charts on the account you're trading. And here we go. So if there's an opportunity after the news, we have the opportunity, the possibility of going into a secondary trade. So like we said, the Fed, a lot of traders are waiting for the Fed this week. Now, this time of day is a pretty active time to be trading. Most professional traders are up. I think there's certainly something to be said that plenty of people wait for the market to open before they start trading. A lot of people don't even know that you can trade before the market opens. A lot of people don't know everything that goes on, all the rules. So do I have any more videos? I had one more video from October of 23. So here's October of 23. NQ on the left, gold on the right. Stuck in the middle with you. So I'm trying to think of what news really captured my attention this weekend. A nut with a gun was outside of Trump's golf course. I guess you could say it was an assassination attempt. I don't know if you saw pictures of that guy. Guy looked awful crazy to me. Looked like a crazy right-wing lunatic also. Not like certainly he wasn't a lefty liberal. When you look at his pictures, this guy looks out there. Looks like a crazy person. Which I think you have to be a little bit crazy to run around with an automatic rifle near where an ex-president is playing golf. You got to be a little bit crazy, right? You're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. But you could see it didn't move very much in October of 23. Gold was a cancel. NQ looks like maybe it hit the first target. So one thing that I know is the amount of crazy people in the world seems to have increased by about triple to what it was. And it seems to go up exponentially every day. Maybe the pandemic gave us all a virus that makes everybody insane. You ever think about that? Maybe we don't know what the pandemic actually did to us. So that's what I think. I think we're all infected with some virus that's made us all crazy, and we don't know it yet. It sure looks that way by the behavior that everybody has. It's like, I don't know. It's a virus that took away politeness, civility, and the ability to talk to your neighbor without pounding on him with your fists. It's crazy. That's what I think. Anyway, I'm just trying to think what other news stories that I've been watching. Um, Phillies are gonna win the National League East. Couple of them, probably in a week, they're gonna clinch the division. Frankly, we don't want them to get the bye, though. I'd rather they start playing poorly for a couple of games and don't qualify for the bye because every team that gets the bye and has 5 days off at the end of the year, they lose in the playoffs. So we don't really want the Phillies to have the bye, but they probably will because they're really good. And then, there's a new Manning, a college quarterback, the grandson of Archie Manning. So that's been in the news. How the genes, that you can't argue for the fact that genes are so powerful. Great athletes, their kids, their grandkids very often are great athletes also. It's not a fluke. It's in the genes. Just like, you have a crazy person in your family, probably everybody in your family is going to be crazy. So that's not so good. But you can't argue for the genes. I think I saw that, Roz, if it's the guy playing the synthesizer. But there's no question the world is off its rocker. Off its rocker. That's the one thing that's definite. All you could do is live in your little part of the world and try to bring some good things to it, right? What else can you do? Okay, we got a minute and a half to go. A minute and a half to go. Now, where I live, uh, sometimes I stay in my daughter's house in Philly, but I actually live in the suburbs of Philly. But the city, it's an insane place. I was riding around yesterday, and it just had a feeling like I didn't want to be out. I felt a bad vibe in the city. It just felt weird. Like if I didn't get home, something was going to happen. And sometimes the vibe just isn't really good. And sometimes people are just not nice. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Forget the way they drive. It's unbelievable. I still ride my scooter, and every day I almost get hit by people not stopping at stop signs, just not paying attention. It's unbelievable. Here we go. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. So we're going to watch, will there be anything worth trading after this news? But it is hard to trade reversals when you're also watching a breakout. Now, I don't see the news result yet. Now, I'm very happy that I did not trade this. That in Sim was a Nick fill, which is the worst fill you're going to get, other than if a trade goes haywire. It looks like the right direction might be up, but I don't see the news, unfortunately. It's not. Okay, it's 11.5. Very, very positive. It really should push gold to the downside. 11.5 on the manufacturing. Very strong manufacturing numbers, and not really getting a big response to the news. I would think it should push gold down. Am I willing to take this trade for a test of the low? Not when it's behaving the way it's behaving and when the squeeze is not even pushing with a negative momentum. Now it is. Right now, the squeeze has that negative momentum. I'm just not sure this is strong enough. I want to trade. If I was felt that this was strong enough, I could take a short here by entering. I'm not seeing really a good push through on the price action. And the news, it almost as if the news it was listened to on the initial reaction, which was down because the news was positive, but we're just not getting a very active move after the news. So I'm going to stay out. I don't need to trade just to prove something. I want to show you the news. All this crap about the bear. Oh my, give me a break. The first season of that show was very good. How much can you take of the same old, same old? I just can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. It's not that interesting, I didn't think. 1150, very, very strong manufacturing. Gold going in the opposite direction from what I would have thought it would do on this news. Okay? So for me, there's definitely no trade here. It is a long. I'm not going to take a short based on the news results because it's not pushing it in the proper direction. I'm going to turn off my breakout. Let's look at the video. Going to look at the video. But on the full size, that was just not a good move for much of a profit there. Not sorry we didn't trade it. If you see me not trading something, it's because I don't have fantastic faith in the report. If it's a great report, I'm trading it, right? I'm going to trade it. I have two accounts I could trade in. Our cash account, which I reserve for the absolute best of the best, or a trade that I just really think has an amazing probability of winning, and our prop account. And I'm a little bit more flexible in our prop account, but I don't trade the crappy reports hardly at all anymore, if you notice. And I don't think you should either, okay? Now, look, Adam is not brand new here. He has knowledge about how to do this. So he traded micros on this, and he made a few dollars. We love the fact that many of our members don't follow us and have their own mind. That's the way to get good at this. You don't want to just do everything that I do. Because remember, I'm trading for the room. I'm not trading just for myself. You want to eventually learn how to do this so you can make your own decisions. Maybe you wanted to trade the NQ on this. That's not a dumb thing to do. It's viable. It hasn't tested great. So you could see we got a fill. It did not get to our target. Our target was only 8 ticks. If our target was 6 ticks, it might have got there. But remember also we were in sim. Sim doesn't take in any slippage. There's no slippage taken into effect. So it might have been a little bit further away even from the target. Didn't look like that was a high slippage trade, certainly. But you might have had a tick of slippage. It's possible. All right. Definitely a good lesson. What's the lesson? What's the lesson here? The lesson is analyze the reports. Try to have video, right? Record all your trades. Get a recording program, record all your trades, and save them so that you can do your research every time an event comes up. You can look at your previous videos, watch the behavior, practice with playback, and then make an intelligent decision based on the behavior of that event. But there's really no reason to trade events that don't have a very good history of good profits. You know, if you want to trade coin toss trades, you'll watch your account fail to grow. Okay? Now gold's going to test that low. Now there's a magnet trade getting ready for gold. I'm not going to be able to get there in time, I don't think. If I put a 10% magnet on, just leave everything set the way it is for the moment. Just one position, put two positions. Oh, it's changing direction here, so let's see if we can what we got going here. Put on the magnet. That's our fill. That's our fill. It's changing direction right now. You know, not a great move from the news. The news did not help push into any particular direction, right? Turning off my crosshair, putting it on local. So that exact entry is 40, 2604.40. So right now you can watch it, okay? You can watch it. If you hover on the button, it shows the targets. It shows the targets now, which is very, very useful. If you want to make the magnet trade an automatic trade, you can press the auto. Press the button again, and it's manual. If it's manual, when it gets to the area of where it would be filled or where the trade would be triggered, the button will blink purple and you can press the button and enter the trade. So you can always trade a magnet trade with no risk. You can also trade it long or short. Right now it's also showing a long magnet at the high. We could just trade it short by turning off the long by clicking the long button. That would turn off long. It's not going to whipsaw to both. So in this case, they're far enough apart where it's going to do one or the other. They're both potential magnets. But low looks a little better because you have a little bit stronger pivot down below. The PP is a strong pivot, as is the low of the day. Up top, you have the high of the day and the R1. Two relatively good. R1 is a decent pivot. If I had my choice, I would rather trade the PP. Everyone, we should have the software ready next week, for next week. It seems to be fine. I'm on the final. I'm testing the final version. There's always things we can add, but I'm under orders to just be done. So I'm done. I've done everything I could do with the budget that we had. And so there is a potential here for a magnet. I thought it was going to happen right now as the price started coming down. It's not. So everyone, I'll see everybody back here at 11:30 for what we feel is one of our best events ever. I want to thank everyone on YouTube. I'm going to end the stream. Thanks so much, everybody coming. We really